Srila Prabhupada ki Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Sha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Saitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sabhagam Malika Shri Vishakam Sha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinamandro Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Nosute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarudesya Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Yantah Pravishya Mama Vachim Imam Prasuktam Sanjeevayat Akila Shakti Darak Svadamna Anyamsya Hasta Charana Shravana Tvagadim Pranannamo Bhagavate Purushaya Tubhyam Svasyastu Vishwasya Kalak Prasidatam Jayantu Bhutani Shivam Mithodya Manascha Badram Vajatarta Dauksaja Aveshyatam Nomatira Jahati Anyabhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmaljana Avritam Manukulyena Krishna Nashulam Bhakti Ruttama Hare Krishna. So I'm very happy to see all of you for this second part of our seminar where we are trying to meditate on the pure devotional service, why it is so important for us to practice pure devotional service, and what does it mean to practice pure devotional service. Today we will have some practical tips what we should do to make sure that our devotion remains pure.
यो सेमिनारको दोस्रो सत्रमा हजुरहरूलाई देखेर धेरै खुसी लागेको छ। आजको सत्रमा हामीहरू विशेष गरी भक्तिमय सेवा, किन हामीले भक्तिमय सेवा, शुद्ध भक्तिमय सेवा गर्नुपर्छ र विशेष गरी आजको सत्रमा चाहिँ व्यवहारिक कुराहरू गर्छौँ जसद्वारा हामी सधैँभरि यो शुद्ध भक्तिमय सेवालाई कायम राखिराख्न सकौँ।
Shastras, they unanimously glorify pure bhakti as the most powerful process, the most quickest process, very efficient process. But at the same time, we don't see these results in reality. Although we see some results, but we don't see the full manifestation of results which are described in the Shastras.
सम्पूर्ण शास्त्रहरूले एकीकृत रूपले चाहिँ भक्तिमय सेवाको महिमा गान गर्छन्। यो सबैभन्दा शक्तिशाली मार्ग हो, सबैभन्दा तीव्र मार्ग हो, यसले चाँडोभन्दा चाँडो कृष्ण प्राप्ति गराउन सक्छ। तर साथसाथै हामीहरूको व्यवहारमा भने यस्तो किसिमको शक्तिको अनुभूति हामीले गर्न सकिरहेका हुँदैनौँ।
And therefore we really have to understand what is blocking the power of bhakti within our consciousness, within our heart.
त्यही भएर हामीले बुझ्नुपर्छ कि हामीहरूको चेतनाभित्र केले चाहिँ यो भक्तिको शक्तिलाई रोकिरहेको छ।
It's like if we take pure gold. Pure gold is very brilliant, shining, and it also is the best metal because its ability to conduct the electric power is very, very high. It's very highly, how to say this, conductive for the electric power.
जस्तो उदाहरणका लागि सुन हेर्न सक्छौं, सुन एक त अत्यन्त चम्किलो पनि हुन्छ र सुनौलो हुन्छ। यसमाथि पनि शून्यम श्लोकलाई लिएर
We didn't touch one thing yesterday, jnana karmadi anavritam. Jnana karma yoga, etc. Should not cover our bhakti. What does it mean?
र हिजो हामीले ज्ञान कर्मादि अनावृतमको बारेमा चर्चा गर्दैनौँ। ज्ञान कर्म योग इत्यादि भक्तिलाई ढाक्नु हुँदैन भन्ने अर्थ हो।
Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that anya abhilasita shunyam, all other desires should be zero, but jnana karma can be in our life.
भक्तिविनोद ठाकुर बताउनुहुन्छ कि अरू सबै अन्य अभिलाषाहरू त हुनु हुँदैन, शून्य नै हुनुपर्छ, तर ज्ञान कर्म भने हाम्रो जीवनमा हुन सक्छ।
If we dissipate our energy to achieve other desires, if we think that something else is equally as important as bhakti, or at least also very important, then the power of our practice will be very minimal. This is about other desires, but jnana and karma could be in our life.
त अन्य अभिलाषाको बारेमा यदि हामीले भक्तिभन्दा अरू केही चिजलाई बढी महत्त्व दिन्छौँ, यो हाम्रो जीवनमा चाहिएको छ भनेर लाग्छ भने यसले चाहिँ हाम्रो भक्तिलाई एकदमै हानि पुर्याउँछ। तर ज्ञान र कर्म भने केही मात्र हाम्रो जीवनमा हुन सक्छ।
And Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, why? Because we have gross body and subtle body, mind and sharir.
र भक्तिविनोद ठाकुर बताउनुहुन्छ यसको कारण के हो भने हाम्रो एउटा स्थूल शरीर छ र सूक्ष्म शरीर छ।
Yeah, because we have stula sharir, we have to do some karma. Because we have sukshma sharir, we have to do some jnana.
र हाम्रो स्थूल शरीर भएको कारणले गर्दा हामीले केही न केही कर्म गर्नै पर्छ र सूक्ष्म शरीर भएको कारणले गर्दा केही न केही ज्ञान पनि गर्न पर्छ।
But what does it mean that anavritam? It means that jnana and karma which we should do should be the servants of our bhakti.
तर अनावृतमको अर्थ हो हामीले गर्ने ज्ञान र कर्म चाहिँ भक्तिको सेवक हुनुपर्छ।
I may do jnana, I may do karma, I may do yoga, but I have to really understand that I'm doing this because I'm serving my bhakti. The bhakti is prominent. This is some subsidiary things which I do to help my bhakti to flourish.
र कर्म गर्न सकिन्छ, ज्ञान गर्न सकिन्छ, योग गर्न सकिन्छ, तर यो कुरा चाहिँ निश्चित हुनु पर्यो कि यी सबै चाहिँ भक्तिका सेवकहरू हुन्। भक्ति चाहिँ मुख्य कुरा हो।
So if we perform bhakti like this, if our desire is to please the Lord, and that means that we are following his representative and trying to follow his ideas, his conception, we are doing this anugatya dharma, and then we are not really trying to achieve any other desire. Our desire is to please the Lord, and if we also do some other things which are subservient to other cultivation of bhakti, like jnana and karma, then our practice is pure.
यदि हामीहरूले हाम्रो भक्तिमय सेवा अनुगत्य रूपमा कृष्णलाई प्रसन्न गराउनको लागि या कृष्णको प्रतिनिधि गुरुलाई खुसी बनाउनको लागि गर्दै जान्छौँ, उहाँको अनुगमन गर्छौँ र साथसाथै हाम्रो जीवनमा ज्ञान कर्म भए तापनि यसले भक्तिको सेवक बनेर चाहिँ कार्य गर्छ भनेदेखि हामी सही मार्गमा छौँ।
And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, please listen very carefully. He explains how this pure bhakti can start.
र एकदम ध्यान दिएर सुन्नुहोस् किनकि भक्तिविनोद ठाकुरले यो शुद्ध भक्ति कसरी सुरु हुन्छ भन्ने कुरा बताउँदै हुनुहुन्छ।
He says that for pure bhakti to start within the heart, it's like, you know, some source of pure bhakti should be awakened within our heart. So for pure bhakti to start within the heart, we first have to be disappointed or disillusioned with our pursuits of material happiness.
त यो शुद्ध भक्ति हाम्रो हृदयभित्र जागृत हुनुभन्दा पनि अगाडि त्यो भक्तिको केही स्रोतको आवश्यकता पर्छ। तसर्थ भक्ति सुरु हुनुभन्दा अगाडि हामीहरूको हृदयबाट हामीहरू भौतिक इच्छाहरूबाट पूर्ण रूपले विरत हुनुपर्छ।
This state of complete disappointment with material happiness, with material recipes of happiness, is very important for bhakti to become, to start within our heart and for bhakti to become pure.
र यो भौतिक इन्द्रिय तृप्तिबाट हामीहरू विरक्त भइसकेपछि मात्र हाम्रो हृदयभित्र भक्ति जागृत हुन सक्छ।
Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that at one point, and everyone goes through it, everyone, in pursuit of material happiness, at one point starts crying and saying, why it is, why I'm so suffering. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur says this cry of Jiva who is about to get bhakti. He explains what Jiva says.
र यहाँ भक्तिविनोद ठाकुरले वर्णन गर्नुहुन्छ कि सबैजना यो बाट पार भएर जानै पर्छ। सबै व्यक्तिहरू आफ्नो भौतिक इच्छा अभिलाषालाई पुरा गर्ने क्रममा एक न एक दिन चाहिँ निराश हुनुपर्छ, रुनुपर्छ, अनि त्यसपछि ऊ बल्ल यो भक्तिको मार्गमा लाग्न सक्छ। र यो निराश हुनु, रुनु भनेकै भक्ति मार्गमा प्रगति गर्ने बाटो हो।
Alas, how unfortunate I am, having fallen into this unsurmountable ocean of material existence. I am being thrown here and there by the violent waves of my wicked desires. At different times, I am being attacked by crocodiles of lust, anger, and so forth. I cry helplessly at my miserable condition, but I don't see any hope for my survival. What should I do? Do I not have any well-wisher? Is there any possible way I can be rescued? Alas, what to do? How will I be delivered? I don't see any solution to my dilemma. Alas, alas, I am most unfortunate. In such a distressed state of helplessness, the living entity becomes exhausted and falls silent, writes Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Here.
यहाँ भक्तिविनोद ठाकुरले बताउनुहुन्छ
Alas, alas. No, this, alas.
उहाँ बताउनुहुन्छ आफैलाई ओहो म कति अभागी, म यो भौतिक संसारको महासागरमा फसेर यताउति छालहरूद्वारा फालिन्छु र मेरा इच्छाहरूले यताउता मलाई पछार्छन्, लसार्छन् र विभिन्न समयहरूमा मलाई चाहिँ काम, क्रोध जस्ता गोहीहरूले आक्रमण गर्छन् र म कोही सहारा नपाएर म धुरुधुरु रुन्छु, यो पीडित अवस्थामा बस्छु र मेरो बाँच्ने कुनै आशा देख्दिनँ। म के गर्न सक्छु? मेरो कोही सहयोगी छैन, कुनै तरिकाले म यहाँबाट बस्न सक्छु त? ओहो के गर्ने होला? म कसरी मेरो उद्धार होला? म त कुनै पनि यो समस्याको समाधान देख्दिनँ। हे हे म कति दुर्भागी। र यस्तो दुखी अवस्थामा, यस्तो पीडित अवस्थामा जीवात्मा अत्यन्त थकित हुन्छ र शान्त हुन्छ।
Thank you. When I read this, I remembered how I became a bhakta.
र यो पढ्दाखेरि मलाई म कसरी भक्त बन्ने भन्ने कुरा याद आउँछ।
Bhaktivinoda Thakur was present at that time.
त्यस समय भक्तिविनोद ठाकुर हुनुहुन्थ्यो।
I remember very much this moment when I started crying, saying that it's all useless. What is the purpose of this and this and that? On the next day, I got Bhagavad Gita.
र म रोइरहेको थिएँ, यो सबैको अर्थ के छ, केही काम छैन भनेर म रोइरहेको थिएँ र त्यसको भोलिपल्टै मैले भगवत गीता प्राप्त गरेँ।
Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that as soon as this mood is being established in the heart of the jiva, then Krishna arranges his meeting with the devotees and the bhakti starts.
र भक्तिविनोद ठाकुर बताउँछ यस्तो किसिमको पीडा प्राप्त गरेको भाव जब व्यक्तिमा त्यसमा पर्छ, तुरन्त उसले भक्तहरूको संगमा आउँछ र भक्ति प्राप्त गर्दछ।
So this is the condition, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, please listen very carefully. This is the condition when our heart is ready to receive the seed of bhakti, bhakti lata bij.
एकदम ध्यान दिएर सुन्नु होला। भक्तिविनोद ठाकुर बताउनुहुन्छ यस्तो परिस्थितिमा चाहिँ हाम्रो हृदय भक्तिलताको बीज प्राप्त गर्नलाई तयार हुन्छ।
If we're just enjoying, then the soil of our heart is too hard to get bhakti lata bij.
यदि हामी अझै इन्द्रिय तृप्ति गर्दैछौँ भने हामीहरूको हृदयको माटो अत्यन्त सारो हुन्छ त्यो भक्तिलता बीजलाई प्राप्त गर्नका लागि।
So some disappointment, some miseries has to be there, and these miseries, they kind of applying the soil of our heart to make it more receptive to the beach of devotional service.
तसर्थ केही न केही निराशा हुनुपर्छ, दुःख हुनुपर्छ र यो दुःखले, यो निराशाले हाम्रो हृदय भित्रको माटोलाई खन्ने काम गर्छ र तत्पश्चात भक्तिलता बीजलाई रोप्न सकिन्छ।
And he says that as soon as this Shraddha, Bhakti Lata Beach basically means that we get little Shraddha, the little faith in pure devotional service. Not just faith in devotional service, faith in pure devotional service.
र यो श्रद्धा भनेको हामीहरूले शुद्ध भक्तिमय सेवामा चाहिँ यो अग्रसर हुन्छ। यो यसको अर्थ होइन कि केवल भक्तिमय सेवा होइन, शुद्ध भक्तिमय सेवामा चाहिँ हामी अग्रसर हुन सक्छौँ।
Faith in pure devotional service means that only pure devotional service can save me. That's the faith which we should get. Nothing else, not any other method. Only pure devotional service.
पूर्ण भक्तिमय सेवामा श्रद्धा भनेको केवल शुद्ध भक्तिमय सेवाले मात्रै चाहिँ मलाई उद्धार गर्न सक्छ, अरू केहीले पनि उद्धार गर्न सक्दैन भन्ने विश्वास हुनुपर्छ।
And he says that in the beginning this faith is like a little baby girl.
र उहाँ बताउनुहुन्छ कि यो श्रद्धा सुरुवाती अवस्थामा एउटा सानो बालिका जस्तो हुन्छ।
Newborn baby girl which is very delicate and very much susceptible to all kinds of diseases.
भर्खरै जन्मिएकी बालिका जो अत्यन्त कोमल छिन् र अनेक किसिमका रोगहरू लाग्न सक्ने सम्भावना जसमा छ।
This Atyanta Komal Balika is very should be protected.
र यो अत्यन्त कोमल बालिकालाई सुरक्षित राख्नुपर्छ।
Because it's komal, it's very delicate. So and therefore it can easily get some diseases and develop into something else.
यो अत्यन्त कोमल भएका कारणले गर्दा अनेक किसिमका रोगहरू लाग्न सक्छ र नष्ट हुन सक्छ।
There can be some bacteria, some worms, or some cold, and all kinds of diseases are there.
केही जीवाणुहरू अथवा किरा अथवा जाडो केही किसिमको रोग लाग्न सक्छ।
It basically means that in the beginning, when our faith is not so strong, and not so strong means till the level of Nishtha. When we reach the level of Nishtha, faith, Shraddha, then Sadhu Sangha, then Bhajana Kriya, then Ananta Nivriti, then Nishtha. Only at the level of Nishtha, our faith is strong enough, and we shouldn't worry too much about this. But in the beginning, we should be very protective.
त सुरुवाती अवस्थामा यो श्रद्धा अत्यन्त कोमल हुन्छ, तर बिस्तारै श्रद्धाबाट साधुसङ्ग अनि भजन क्रिया, अनर्थ निवृत्ति अनि निष्ठाको स्तरमा पुगेपछि चाहिँ यो श्रद्धा एकदमै तगडा हुन्छ, त्यसपछि चिन्ता गर्नु पर्दैन।
And it basically means that we should be very careful about our association. We should not associate. When we are on the level of Nishtha, no problem, we can associate with anyone. But on the level of before that, we have to be really careful with whom we listen, whom we giving our heart to.
तर यो निष्ठाको स्तरसम्म नपुग्दासम्म, निष्ठाको स्तरमा पुगेपछि त जोसँग पनि सङ्ग गर्न सकिन्छ, तर निष्ठाको स्तरसम्म नपुग्दासम्म अत्यन्त सावधान हुनुपर्छ कि कसको सङ्ग हामीले गरिरहेका छौँ, कसलाई आफ्नो हृदय दिइरहेका छौँ।
Because with this Bhakti Lata Beach can be pure Bhakti Lata Beach, but it can also, due to some unwanted association, can become some genetically modified Bhakti Lata Beach, GMO.
र यो किनकि भक्तिलता बीजको पनि जहाँसम्म कुरा छ, यो शुद्ध भक्तिलताको बीज हुनुपर्छ। यो शुद्ध भक्तिलताको बीज नभएर यसमा चाहिँ केही मिश्रणहरू भएको चाहिँ यो आधुनिक बीजहरू पनि हुन सक्छ।
So instead of the fruit of pure bhakti, you will get genetically modified fruit of this Bhakti Lata Beach.
त यो भक्तिलता शुद्ध भक्तिलता बीजको फल प्राप्त नगरेर हामीले कुनै मिश्रित बीजको चाहिँ फल पाउन सक्छौँ।
So anyways, so this was little introduction. Now I want to explain what does it mean to practice pure bhakti.
त यो थोरै भूमिका थियो। अब शुद्ध भक्ति कसरी हाम्रो जीवनमा गर्ने त्यसको बारेमा बताउँछु।
Srila Jiva Goswami says that there are three kinds of practices which we call bhakti.
र श्रील जीव गोस्वामीले बताउनुहुन्छ कि तीनटा किसिमको अभ्यासहरू छन् जसलाई हामीहरू शुद्ध भक्ति भन्न सक्छौँ।
I said that he classifies, he says there is around more than 100 different kinds of bhakti, but three of them are very important.
र मैले जुन भन्दै थिएँ कि 100 भन्दा पनि बढी किसिमका भक्तिहरू छन्, तर त्यसमा तीनटा चाहिँ महत्त्वपूर्ण छ।
And we have to really understand what are the three types of bhakti, which they still can be pure devotional service, but they're called differently. So we will talk about this.
र यी तीनटा को बारेमा चाहिँ हामीले जान्नु आवश्यक छ। हो उनीहरूलाई पनि केही मात्रामा शुद्ध भक्ति भन्न सकिन्छ, तर यसको बारेमा अलग अलग नाम चाहिँ हामी बुझ्छौँ।
It says one is aropa siddha bhakti, another one is sangha siddha bhakti, and third one is svarupa siddha bhakti. And the word siddha here means that the activity which becomes bhakti because of aropa, because of sangha, or because of svarupa, because of its own nature. So there are three kinds of activities. One is bhakti, but it becomes bhakti through the process of aropa, which is, we will explain. Another one becomes bhakti through the process of sangha, and another one becomes bhakti because it is already bhakti.
त यो तीनटा यसको चाहिँ विभाजनहरू छ। त्यसमध्ये आरोप सिद्ध भक्ति, सङ्ग सिद्ध भक्ति र स्वरूप सिद्ध भक्ति भन्छ। जसमध्ये आरोप सिद्ध भक्ति चाहिँ भक्ति हो, तर आरोपको कारणले गर्दा भक्ति बन्छ। अर्को चाहिँ सङ्गको कारणले गर्दा भक्ति बन्छ र अर्को स्वरूप चाहिँ स्वतः नै भक्ति नै रहन्छ।
So it's very simple, but it's important. First, let's take aropa siddha bhakti. Aropa siddha bhakti means that I'm doing something, whatever I'm doing, and at the end I say, Krishna, please take this as I have done this for you.
त यो सुरुमा यो एकदम त सरल छ र महत्त्वपूर्ण पनि छ। सुरुमा हामी आरोप सिद्ध भक्ति बारेमा चर्चा गर्छौँ। यसमा हामीहरूले आफ्नो केही सेवा गर्छौँ, काम गर्छौँ र अन्तिममा चाहिँ कृष्ण मैले यो गरेँ, म हजुरलाई अर्पण गर्छु भनेर दिन्छौँ।
Aropa basically means that this activity has nothing to do with Krishna, but because we offer the results of it to Krishna, it becomes some sort of bhakti.
त आरोपको अर्थ हुन्छ कि यो जुन हामीले कार्य गर्दैछौँ यो कृष्णसँग सम्बन्धित नहुन सक्छ, तर अन्तिममा यसको फल चाहिँ कृष्णलाई अर्पण गरेका कारणले यो भक्ति बन्छ।
I know one married couple, and they're devotees of some sort, some beginning devotees, and there the wife is in the rank quoted with Krishna and husband is not.
र मलाई एउटा विवाहित जोडीको बारेमा थाहा छ। उहाँहरू चाहिँ भक्त बन्दै हुन्छ सुरुवाती अवस्थाको, र उहाँको पत्नी चाहिँ भक्तिमा कृष्णसँग सम्बन्धित छ, पति त्यति साह्रो हुनुहुन्न।
In the morning, the wife says, "Today Krishna wants pizza," and the husband says, "Yes, yes."
र बिहान उठेर पत्नीले भन्नुहुन्छ आज कृष्णलाई पिज्जा चाहिएको छ, अनि श्रीमानले भन्नुहुन्छ हो हो हो।
And wife always know what Krishna wants, and husband very obediently accepts the desires of Krishna, which is coming to him through his wife.
पत्नीलाई चाहिँ सधैँ थाहा हुन्छ कि कृष्णलाई के चाहिएको छ, र पतिले चाहिँ पत्नीको माध्यमबाट आउनुभएको कृष्णको इच्छालाई सधैँ स्वीकार गर्छन्।
It basically means that his wife wants something, but she says that Krishna wants this.
भन्नुको अर्थ पत्नीलाई केही चाहिएको छ, तर उहाँले चाहिँ भन्नुहुन्छ कृष्णलाई चाहिएको छ।
That's called aropa siddha bhakti.
यस्तोलाई चाहिँ आरोप सिद्ध भक्ति भनिन्छ।
It basically means I want to do something, I'm doing something, but I'm saying, Krishna, please take it. You know, by the way, I did this, please do it, please take it.
त हामीलाई केही गर्न मन लाग्छ, हामी केही गर्छौँ, र अन्तिममा ल ठिकै छ गरिसके कृष्ण ल लिनुहोस् यो मैले गरेको चिज भनेर दिन्छ।
It's basically it means that this is something which is not service, but because I try to connect it with Krishna in my mind, it becomes some sort of service. It's not very high class service, but still it's some sort of service.
त यो उच्चतरीय सेवा त होइन, तर केही तरिकाले हामी मानसिक रूपमा हो भने कृष्णलाई अर्पण गर्छौँ, त्यसकारणले केही न केही यो सेवा नै हो।
And Srila Jiva Goswami says that this activity, which we call Aropa Siddha Bhakti, some sort of bhakti, can be three types.
र शिल जीव गोस्वामीले बताउनुहुन्छ कि यो जुन आरोपसित भक्ति छ यो पनि 3 किसिमको हुन्छ.
He says it can be the activity which is prescribed in the Shastras for your Varna and Ashrama, your more or less something, your prescribed duties which have nothing to do with Krishna. Like for example, Shastra says that you should do some sacrifice to some demigods, you should do some shraddha to your deceased ancestors. So and then at the end of this you say Krishnarpanamastu. I am giving the results of this to Krishna. This is yours.
र यो यो यसको पहिलो जुन छ यो चाहिँ कुनै आफ्नो कर्म छ व्यक्तिगत वर्ण र आश्रम अनुसारले जुन कर्तव्यहरू हुन्छ जस्तो कि कुनै देवी देवताको पूजन गर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ या आफ्ना पितृहरूलाई चाहिँ श्राद्ध गर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ र यो सबै कार्य गरिसकेर अन्तिममा चाहिँ हामीहरू कृष्ण अर्पणमस्तु यो कृष्णलाई अर्पण गरे भनेर दिन्छौँ.
So you just have to remember this mantra Krishnarpanamastu, and that's more or less you are doing bhakti.
केवल यही मन्त्र एउटा याद राख्नु पर्यो कृष्ण अर्पणमस्तु र हामीले जे गरे पनि अन्तिममा जस्तो भक्ति हुन्छ.
It says then we do some ordinary activities. We eating, we are sleeping. Is sleeping bhakti or not?
त हामी केही साधारण क्रियाकलापहरू गर्छौँ जस्तो सुत्ने अथवा खाने यो सुत्ने पनि भक्ति हुन्छ कि हुँदैन?
Sutni bhakti. We really have to somehow or other sleep in a very devotional way. So this is Jiva Goswami teaches us how to do this.
र यो सुत्ने कार्यलाई पनि हामीले भक्तिमय तरिकाले गर्नुहुन्छ र जीव गोस्वामीले सिकाउनुहुन्छ कसरी गर्ने.
So and then Jiva Goswami says that our activity can be against the Shastras, and he says even this can be bhakti, even something which is against the Shastras, even this can be offered to Krishna.
र जीव गोस्वामी भन्नुहुन्छ कि शास्त्रमा नगर्नु भनेको कार्य पनि हामीहरू कहिले काहीँ गर्छौँ र त्यसलाई पनि कृष्णलाई अर्पण गरेर यो पनि कहिले काहीँ भक्ति हुन सक्छ.
Shastra viruddha karma, even this can be offered to Krishna. So this is very interesting subject matter. I think we should all know how to do this.
शास्त्रमा विरुद्ध शास्त्र विरुद्ध कर्महरूलाई पनि कृष्णलाई अर्पण गर्न सकिन्छ र अत्यन्त महत्त्वपूर्ण छ हामी सबैले बुझ्न पर्छ यो कसरी हुन्छ.
So he says that all these three types of activities we can offer to Krishna, but we should know how to offer this to Krishna, how to connect this with Krishna, how to turn it into bhakti.
त यो तीनटै कार्यहरूलाई हामीले कृष्णलाई अर्पण गर्न सक्छौँ, भक्तिमा परिवर्तन गर्न सक्छौँ, तर हामीले जान्नुपर्छ कि कसरी यसलाई चाहिँ भक्तिमा हामीले परिवर्तन गर्न सक्छौँ.
So there is a very important verse in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Kayena vacha manasendriyairva buddhyatmana vanusrita svabhavat karoti yat yat sakalam parasmai narayaneti samarpayetat. Whatever the human being would do in his life according to his swabhavik nature, according to his conditioned nature, with his body, with his speech, and with his mind, and with his intelligence, and with his senses, he should do this saying, I'm doing this for Lord Narayana.
व्यक्तिले आफ्नो स्वभाव अनुसार यो बद्ध अवस्थामै रहेर आफ्नो शरीरले मनले वचनले जुन कुनै क्रियाकलापहरू गर्छ यो सबै चाहिँ भगवान नारायणलाई समर्पण गर्दैछु भनेर गर्नुपर्छ.
So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains what does it mean in the commentary to this verse.
र यस श्लोकको तात्पर्यमा विश्वनाथ चक्रवर्ती ठाकुर भन्नुहुन्छ कि यसको अर्थ के हो.
He says that the ordinary people, they do all these things. They get up in the morning, they brush their teeth, they take shower sometimes, they eat something, then they deal with the family members, they then go to work, and the devotee does the same, I hope.
र बताउनुहुन्छ कि एउटा साधारण मान्छेले पनि बिहान सबेरै उठ्छ, दाँत मोल्छ, तत्पश्चात स्नान गर्छ कहिलेकाहीँ, अनि त्यसपछि आफ्नो भोजन ग्रहण गर्छ, आफ्नो परिवारका जनहरूसँग भेट्छ र आफ्नो दैनिक क्रियाकलाप गर्छ र भक्तहरूले पनि यही गर्नुहुन्छ सायद।
He says that the difference is that the devotee in the beginning and in the end he says, Krishna, this is, I'm doing this for you, I'm brushing my teeth for you, Krishna.
तर भक्तले चाहिँ सुरुवातमा र अन्तमा हे कृष्ण, यो सबै मैले तपाईँको लागि गरेको, यो दाँत माझेको पनि तपाईँको लागि हो।
So tomorrow don't forget, before brushing your teeth, saying, I'm doing this for you, Krishna.
त्यसैले भोलि बिहान दाँत माझ्ने बेलामा सम्झिनुहोस्, हे कृष्ण, यो दाँत माझेको मैले तपाईँको लागि हो।
After all, you're going to chant his name, and if your teeth are not, it's not good to put Krishna's name in the mouth which is not clean.
किनकि त्यही मुखले हामीले चाहिँ कृष्णको नाम जप गर्न पर्छ र त्यो मुख चाहिँ यदि पवित्र छैन, शुद्ध छैन भनेदेखि कसरी कृष्णको नाम जप्ने?
That's the meditation which we should have. I'm doing this for you. This is my activity for you.
त यो हाम्रो ध्यान हुनुपर्छ, यो मेरो कार्य हजुरको लागि भनेर।
But and he says that if it is some Vedic karma, the karma which is prescribed by the Vedas, again at the end you say, Krishnarpan mastu, I'm doing this for Krishna. This is my service to him.
र वेदमा बताएको कुनै वैदिक कर्महरू गर्दैछौँ भने पनि अन्तिममा हामी कृष्ण अर्पणमस्तु, हे कृष्ण, यो कर्म मैले गरेँ, हजुरलाई अर्पण गरेँ भन्नुपर्छ।
And Jiva Goswami says very interesting thing. It says, if you do something which is against Shastra, which is prohibited by Shastra,
र जीव गोस्वामी बताउनुहुन्छ, मानौ तपाईँले कुनै शास्त्रमा गर्न नहुने भनेर बताइएको कर्मलाई, शास्त्रमा नगर्ने कर्मलाई गर्नुभयो भनेदेखि पनि
you break some regulative principles.
तपाईँ कुनै नियमलाई भङ्ग गर्नुभयो,
Jiva Goswami says, even this can be arope siddha bhakti.
र जीव गोस्वामी बताउनुहुन्छ, यो पनि आरोप सिद्ध भक्ति हुन सक्छ।
Please don't misuse this information, but still it's important for us to understand what does it mean.
यो जानकारीको गलत फाइदा चाहिँ नउठाउनुहोस्, तर यो जान्नु आवश्यक छ हामीले।
So he quotes a verse, very interesting. Anena durvasana dukkha darshanena sakarunamaya karunam karotu. He says that while doing something which is against the Shastra, you have to have this prayer. Anena durvasana dukkha darshanena, I'm sakarunamaya karunam karotu. Please, my Lord, give me some mercy, seeing how I'm suffering because I'm going along with my durvasana, with my wrong desires, with bad desires which I have.
र हामीले कृष्णलाई प्रार्थना गर्नुपर्छ कि कृष्ण, मैले यो गलत कार्य गर्दैछु र मेरो आफ्ना गलत इच्छाहरूको कारणले गर्दा म कस्तो दुर्गतिमा पर्दैछु, मलाई चाहिँ यहाँबाट उद्धार गर्नुहोस् भनेर प्रार्थना गर्नुपर्छ।
If you feel like this, I'm doing this, I know this is wrong, but I have this very strong desire, it goes somewhere, it really drags me into this direction, and I suffer, I don't want it, then Krishna will accept this. This will also become bhakti.
र यदि तपाईँले त्यो नराम्रो काम गर्दा गर्दै पनि प्रार्थना गर्नुहुन्छ, हे कृष्ण, म यो नराम्रो काम गर्न चाहन्न, तर कोही तरिकाले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ मेरो स्वभावले मलाई तानेर लैजान्छ, घिसारेर लैजान्छ यो नराम्रो काममा, हे कृष्ण, मलाई उद्धार गर्नुहोस् यसबाट भनेर हामीले यसरी प्रार्थना गर्छौँ भनेदेखि चाहिँ त्यो पनि भक्ति हुन जान्छ।
And very soon, because of this sincere how you say, раскаяние? Repentance. Because of this sincere repentance, your heart will be purified.
र यस्तो निष्कपट पश्चातापद्वारा चाहिँ हाम्रो हृदय शुद्धिकरण हुन्छ।
Like and sometimes there was a very interesting episode. Once secretary was reading letters to Srila Prabhupada, and he was reading a letter from one devotee, from one disciple of Srila Prabhupada.
एक समयमा श्रील प्रभुपादको सचिवले उहाँको चाहिँ पत्रहरू पढ्दै हुनुहुन्थ्यो र केही उहाँको शिष्यहरूले पठाउनु भएको पत्र पढेर सुनाउँदै हुनुहुन्थ्यो।
And in this letter, the disciple was writing that I was taking drugs before becoming a devotee, and then I became a devotee, and for some time everything was fine, but then I again started taking drugs, and I'm struggling, and I'm trying to give up, but it's so difficult, and I'm still trying, and he's writing a long letter like this.
र उहाँले चाहिँ पत्रमा लेख्नुभएको थियो, पहिला म चाहिँ ड्रग्सहरू खान्थेँ र अहिले म भक्तिमा आएँ र फेरि मैले त्यसलाई छोडिसकेको थिएँ, तर फेरि त्यो ड्रग्सलाई फेरि मैले लिन थालेँ र त्यसलाई छोड्न खोज्छु, कति प्रयास गर्छु, तर म सक्दिनँ, म असमर्थ भइरहेको छु। यसरी लामो चिठी लेखेका थिए।
And all of a sudden the secretary saw that Srila Prabhupada started crying.
र अचानक श्रील प्रभुपादको सचिवले देख्नुभयो कि प्रभुपाद रोइराख्नु भएको छ।
And then there was some silence, some pause, and then in the end Prabhupada said, just see how he's struggling for Krishna.
र केही समयसम्म मौन हुनुभयो, एकदम शान्त भयो, केही बोल्नु भएन र एकछिनपछि श्रील प्रभुपादले हेर त कृष्णको लागि कति सङ्घर्ष गरिरहेका छन्।
So Srila Prabhupada accepted this as devotional service. He's struggling for Krishna. He is fighting for Krishna.
र श्रील प्रभुपादले यसलाई पनि भक्तिमय सेवाको रूपमा स्वीकार गर्नुभयो, कृष्णको लागि सङ्घर्ष गर्दैछन्, युद्ध गर्दैछन्।
Yeah, even this can be bhakti. Even this can be called bhakti. Even this is connecting us with the Lord.
र यसलाई पनि भक्ति भन्न सकिन्छ, यसले पनि हामीलाई कृष्णसँग जोड्दैछ।
And therefore, Srila Jiva Goswami, he says very interestingly, he says that the results of this, if you do your karma like this, it's your karmic activity, but if you do this, there will be two very great results of this karma.
र जीव गोस्वामी अगाडि बताउनुहुन्छ कि यदि हामीले यस्तो किसिमको कर्मलाई गर्यो भनेदेखि यसको दुईटा फलहरू पाउन सकिन्छ।
He says that the results which this karma, this activity will bring to you will be much greater than if you don't do it as a devotion.
र जीव गोस्वामी बताउनुहुन्छ कि यस्तो किसिमको कर्म कृष्णलाई अर्पण गरेर गर्छौँ भनेदेखि अर्पण नगरेको भन्दा धेरै राम्रो फल पाउँछौँ।
This is the first result, and the second result, then if you do it like this, then the karma will not have negative consequences, negative reactions to this. There will be no normal karma. When we do, it creates and makes stronger desire within the heart. This karma will not create more desires within our heart.
र यसले साथसाथै हामीलाई त्यो कर्मको फलबाट पापबाट हामीलाई बचाइ पनि दिन्छ, किनकि साधारणतया त्यस्तो नराम्रो कर्म गर्नाले चाहिँ हामीले अझै पाप गर्ने इच्छा बढ्दै जान्छ भने यसरी गर्नाले चाहिँ हाम्रो हृदयबाट त्यो इच्छा मर्दै जान्छ।
And you will gradually see that these results will become less and less. There is not results. The desires within our heart become less and less and less.
र हामी देख्न सक्छौँ कि बिस्तारै हाम्रो हृदयभित्रको त्यो इच्छा कम 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 हुँदै जान्छ।
So basically, what Srila Jiva Goswami says to us, that in the beginning, this is a good way to start practicing bhakti. We're doing what we're doing, but we're always connected with the Lord, and we say, my dear Lord, I'm doing it for you. Please take it. And gradually, this will purify our heart.
त जीव गोस्वामी बताउनुहुन्छ कि यो सुरुवातको अवस्थामा एकदमै राम्रो हो, हामीले जे गर्दैछौँ तर यसलाई कृष्णलाई अर्पण गरेर गर्दैछौँ र यो गर्नाले बिस्तारै बिस्तारै हाम्रो हृदयको शुद्धिकरण हुँदै जान्छ।
So this is the first Aropa Siddha Bhakti. It's good for the beginning, but it's not very good if after 15 years of chanting Hare Krishna you're still cooking pizza for Krishna.
यो आरोप सिद्ध भक्तिलाई भनिन्छ, तर सुरुवाती अवस्थामा एकदम राम्रो हो यो, तर यस्तो हैन कि 15 वर्षपछि पनि म कृष्णलाई पिज्जा बनाउँदैछु भन्ने हैन।
Krishna doesn't like pizza.
कृष्णलाई पिज्जा मन पर्दैन।
Krishna likes only chapatis.
कृष्णलाई रोटी मात्रै मन पर्छ।
So then Sangha Siddha Bhakti is very interesting. This is the next thing.
यसपछिको दोस्रो चाहिँ संघ सिद्ध भक्ति, यो पनि अत्यन्त आकर्षक छ।
No, first was Aropa. Now we start with Sangha Siddha Bhakti.
पहिला हामीले आरोप सिद्ध भक्तिको बारेमा कुरा गर्यौँ, अब सङ्ग सिद्ध भक्तिको बारेमा कुरा गर्छौँ।
Sangha Siddha Bhakti is the activity, as I said, which becomes Bhakti due to the association with Bhakti.
र यो सङ्ग सिद्ध भक्ति भनेको त्यो क्रियाकलाप जुन चाहिँ भक्तिको सङ्गमा आएर भक्ति बन्छ।
What it means, please listen very carefully. Sometimes we think that Bhakti needs some help.
के हुन्छ भने एकदम ध्यान दिएर सुन्नुहोस्, कहिलेकाहीँ हामीले सोच्छौँ भक्तिलाई केही चिजको सहायता चाहिन्छ,
That we should do some extra austerity to become better in Bhakti.
हामीले सोच्छौँ कि ओ धेरै तपस्या गर्नुपर्छ भक्तिमा अग्रसर हुनका लागि।
I should fast very often, once a year. Sometimes people they have this idea to speed up the progress of my bhakti. I have to do some severe austerities. Everyone is chanting, 16 rounds, and I will chant, 17 rounds. No. Everyone is chanting 16 rounds sitting in the temple room, and I will go to Vishnu Mati, and I will stand till my neck, and I will chant there, and my bhakti will become much better.
र कहिलेकाहीँ हामी सोच्छौँ कि यस्तो तपस्या गर्नाले चाहिँ मेरो भक्ति अझै बढ्छ, मैले अलि धेरै बेला धेरै व्रत बसिराख्नु पर्यो, मानव वर्षमा एकचोटि व्रत बस्नै पर्यो, वा अरू सबै भक्तहरूले चाहिँ मन्दिरभित्र बसेर जप गरिरहेछन्, म चाहिँ विष्णुमतीमा गएर पानी घाटीसम्म पानीमा डुबेर चाहिँ जप गर्छु, यसले चाहिँ अरूभन्दा मेरो भक्ति अझै धेरै बढ्छ भन्ने भावना आउँछ हामीलाई कहिलेकाहीँ।
Basically, it means that you have the understanding, you have the conception that for bhakti to become successful, you need to do something else, and you're doing this something else, which is basically some vairagya, some tapasya, or some activity of like this. So you develop some certain qualities, and you think that by doing this, you will improve your devotional service.
मूल कुरा के भने हामीले सोच्छौँ कि भक्तिलाई केही चिजको सहयोग चाहिन्छ, त्यस कारणले हामी या त वैराग्य अथवा तपस्या यस्तो केही कार्यद्वारा चाहिँ भक्तिलाई चाहिँ म अझै बढाउँछु भनेर सोच्न थाल्छौँ।
Like some people, they very much like all these little subtle Vedic rituals. You have to do this, you have to really follow very carefully this, and they have the idea that if we're doing this, then the process of bhakti will become much faster.
कोही व्यक्तिहरूको यस्तो धारणा हुन्छ कि केही सूक्ष्म वैदिक नियमहरू हुन्छन्, यस्तो गर्नुपर्छ त्यस्तो गर्नुपर्छ र यो गर्नाले चाहिँ हाम्रो भक्तिको तीव्रता बढ्छ भन्छ।
So by doing this, you are connecting this with bhakti. You think that this is helpful for bhakti, and therefore this activity becomes bhakti.
र तपाईले सोच्नु भएको चाहिँ यो कार्यद्वारा चाहिँ भक्तिमा जोड्नु भयो र त्यस कारणले गर्दा यो कार्य पनि भक्तिमा संयोजित हुन्छ।
And this is called Sangha Siddha Bhakti, some activity which is not really bhakti, but by its nature, but it becomes bhakti because we think that it's helpful for bhakti.
त कुनै यस्तो कार्य जुन चाहिँ स्वतः रूपले भक्ति होइन तर पनि भक्तिमा सहयोग गर्छ भनेर हामीले गरिरहेका हुन्छौँ र त्यसकारणले यो भक्ति बन्छ।
It basically means that we don't believe in pure bhakti, and we want to to mix little bit of something else with the pure bhakti, and in this way improve bhakti.
यसको अर्थ हामीलाई शुद्ध भक्तिमा विश्वास छैन र त्यो भक्तिमा अरू केही मिसाउन चाहन्छौँ र भक्तिलाई बढाउन चाहन्छौँ।
Astrology, yoga, this and that, and but you're doing it because you want to improve your bhakti.
त्यो ज्योतिष शास्त्र हुन सक्छ वा योग हुन सक्छ, तर जे होस् हामीले भक्तिलाई बढाउनका लागि यो गर्दैछौँ।
And there are many, many examples of this. Like, for example, in certain chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it is explained, Amanitvam, Adambitvam, Ahimsak Shantirajyavam, Acharya Pasanam, what is this? Acharya Pasanam, Socham, and so on and so forth. And there it is also said that the idea is that you're doing this, but you're very strictly following ahimsa, you're developing some qualities of amanitvam, you're very humble, adambitvam, you're not really, trying to get some prestige because of doing bhakti, so on and so forth. And you're doing it in the context of your bhakti.
र हामीले यी सबै गुणहरूको विकास गरिरहेका हुन्छौँ एकदमै कट्टरसँग अहिंसा गर्छौँ वा आफूले कहिले पनि मनको आशा राख्दैनौँ एकदम विनम्र हुन्छौँ र गलत प्रतिष्ठाबाट पनि बच्छौँ तर यो सबै गरेको हामीले भक्तिलाई बढाउनको लागि गर्दैछौँ
So Srila Jiva Goswami says it's okay, but it's not the highest form of bhakti.
र श्रील जीव गोस्वामी बताउनुहुन्छ यो पनि ठिक छ तर भक्तिको सबभन्दा श्रेष्ठ मार्ग चाहिँ होइन
In the highest form of bhakti, you have strong belief that what you don't need to do anything else. The bhakti itself has the power to bring anything which you need.
र भक्तिको सर्वोच्चम स्तरमा त यो विश्वास हुन्छ कि अरू केही गर्न पर्दैन केवल भक्तिकै यो मार्गले नै जे आवश्यक छ पुरा गरिदिन्छ
The difference is like this, some devotees, they practice austerity because they think it helps bhakti. And some people, they practice bhakti in a very powerful way and they become very austere in a natural way. That's the difference.
फरक के हो भनेदेखि कोही भक्तहरूले चाहिँ भक्तिलाई गिलास मोही खान परिरहेको थियो तर हामी चाहिँ सोच्छौँ कि एक दिन बिराएर मोही खाएपछि हामीलाई त्यो ताकत आउँछ कि राधारानीको श्रीमती राधारानीको कृपा पाउन सकिन्छ
When in Srivasangam, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu found this brahmachari who was hiding there, trying to become a member of Sankirtana of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and this brahmachari was drinking only milk. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became very angry at him.
एकचोटि श्रीवासाङ्गनमा जब कीर्तन हुन्थ्यो भित्र त्यस समयमा एकजना ब्रह्मचारी चाहिँ लुकेर त्यो सङ्घको भागीदार सहभागी बन्न खोजिरहेका थिए तर जब चैतन्य महाप्रभुले थाहा पाउनुभयो कि उसले चाहिँ केवल दुध पिएर मात्रै चाहिँ सङ्कीर्तनमा चाहिँ सहभागी हुन चाहँदैछ
You know the story that this brahmachari, he hit himself, Srivas Thakur actually helped him to hit himself, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started his kirtan, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, no, I don't feel the ecstasy which I usually feel.
र कथा तपाईँलाई थाहै छ यो ब्रह्मचारी चाहिँ कहीँ लुक्नु भएको थियो श्रीवास ठाकुरले सहयोग गर्नुभएको थियो र उहाँ कुनै ठाउँमा लुक्नु भएको थियो र चैतन्य महाप्रभु कीर्तन गर्दै गर्दै नृत्य गर्दा गर्दै उहाँले भन्नुभयो जुन दिन मैले अरू दिन जस्तो भावको अनुभूति गर्थेँ आज मैले गरिरहेको छैन
Why he didn't have this bhavka anubhuti? Because there was some foreign element, because there was somebody with the wrong idea, wrong conception.
किन त्यो भाव प्रकट भइरहेको थिएन भावको अनुभूति भइरहेको थिएन त किनकि कोही गलत व्यक्ति थियो गलत सोचको साथमा
Somebody who didn't believe in pure bhakti.
जसलाई शुद्ध भक्तिमा विश्वास थिएन
And then, he said, who is there? And Srivas Thakur, he started trembling and he took out this brahmachari and he said, but this brahmachari is very pure. He's only drinking milk. He's not eating anything else.
र चैतन्य महाप्रभु क्रोधित हुनुभयो र खोइ को यहाँ बाहिर निकाल भनेपछि श्रीवास ठाकुर एकदम काप्न थाल्नुभयो र त्यो ब्रह्मचारी बाहिर निकालेर एकदमै शुद्ध छ उसले दुध बाहेक अरू केही पनि खाँदैन भन्न थाल्नुभयो
And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became even more crowded. He said, this fool, get out of here. He thinks that by drinking milk he can go to God. He can achieve love of God.
र यो सुनेर त चैतन्य महाप्रभु अझै बढी क्रोधित हुनुभयो अनि यो मूर्ख यसले सोचेको छ कि दुध खाएर भगवत प्राप्ति गर्न सकिन्छ
So let us not become such fools.
र हामी चाहिँ त्यस्तो मूर्ख नबनौँ
It basically means that we have to believe in Swarup Siddha Bhakti. Only Swarup Siddha Bhakti is powerful enough to bring everything else. We don't need any help. Our Bhakti doesn't need any help.
त्यसको अर्थ हो हामीलाई यो स्वरूप सिद्ध भक्तिमा पूर्ण विश्वास हुनुपर्छ। यो स्वरूप सिद्ध भक्तिले नै सबै कुरा दिन सक्छ, अरू केही चिजको आवश्यकता पर्दैन।
So, and then the third kind of bhakti is the best activity which we should do.
र तेस्रो किसिमको भक्ति चाहिँ सर्वोत्कृष्ट कार्य जुन हामीले गर्नुपर्छ।
It's called Svarupa Siddha Bhakti because by very nature it is already bhakti.
यसलाई स्वरूप सिद्ध भक्ति भनिन्छ किनकि स्वरूपैले यो चाहिँ भक्ति नै हो।
It's the activity itself is already service.
त्यो जुन कार्य हामी गर्छौँ त्यो नै सेवा हो।
Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. These 9 kinds of activities. By nature, it already has, it's the service.
यो श्रवणम, कीर्तनम, स्मरणम, वन्दनम, अर्चनम, दास्यम, साख्यम, आत्मनिवेदन यो स्वभावैले नै यो सेवामा रत हुन्छ यो चीजहरु।
And because it's Svarup Siddha, because it's by nature it is already bhakti, it has inherent Vastu Shakti.
र यो स्वरूपैले चाहिँ यस यो भक्तिको कार्यहरु भएका कारणले गर्दाखेरि यसैमा यस भित्रै रहेको एउटा शक्ति हुन्छ।
Vastu Shakti.
वस्तु शक्ति।
Every Vastu has special Shakti.
प्रत्येक वस्तुको एउटा विशेष शक्ति हुन्छ।
So the Vastu Shakti of Svarup Shakti of Svarupa Bhakti, Vastu Shakti is Bhakti Poshaka.
र यो स्वरूप सिद्ध भक्तिको वस्तु शक्ति भनेको चाहिँ भक्तिलाई पोषण गर्छ।
It basically means that whatever you do which belongs to this category, Svarupa Siddha Bhakti, it nourishes your bhakti. Your bhakti will become stronger.
भन्नुको अर्थ यदि यो स्वरूप सिद्ध भक्तिको कुनै पनि अङ्गलाई हामीले चाहिँ आफ्नो जीवन अपनाउँछ भने यसले हाम्रो भक्तिलाई पोषण गर्दै जान्छ।
So it's bhakti itself, and therefore it increases your bhakti if you're doing this.
त एक क्रियाकलाप गर्नाले स्वाभाविक हाम्रो भक्ति बढ्दै जान्छ।
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
So obviously the result is obvious.
त अवश्य यसको फल त बुझ्न सकिन्छ।
You know, this itself will nourish your bhakti. You don't need anything else. And you know, the pure faith means we believe that this itself is enough.
त यसरी हाम्रो भक्तिलाई बढाउँछ र यो पूर्ण विश्वास भने कि यो कार्य गर्नाले हाम्रो भक्ति वृद्धि हुन्छ भन्ने बुझ्नु हो।
But for this Svarup Siddha Bhakti to be powerful, it has to be practiced with very pure motives. That's we have to say.
तर यो स्वरूप सिद्ध भक्तिले कार्य गर्नका लागि चाहिँ सही उद्देश्यका साथमा यसलाई गर्नुपर्छ।
Only then the process will be very fast.
र त्यसपछि मात्र यो विधि चाहिँ तीव्र हुँदै जान्छ।
And it basically means, what does it mean? Srila Kapila Dev describes this in the 29th chapter of the 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, this bhakti in the modes of material nature.
र कपिल देव भगवानले श्रीमद् भागवतम तृतीय स्कन्धको 29औं अध्यायमा भक्तिलाई 3 गुणहरुमा हुने भक्तिलाई वर्णन गर्नुहुन्छ।
You practice Svarup Siddha Bhakti, the pure form of bhakti, but because your consciousness is in the modes of material nature, you mix the motives which belong to the modes of material nature, which don't belong to bhakti itself.
त यद्यपि हामीले स्वरूप सिद्ध भक्ति नै गरिरहेका छौं, तर किनकि प्रकृतिका केही गुणहरुको हामीले त्यसमा मिश्रण गर्छौं, त्यसकारण त्यसको फल पाउन सक्छौं।
And because of this, you become separatist, you become binadrik, you become your vision becomes separate.
र यस कारणले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ हामीहरु चाहिँ भिन्न हुन्छौं, अरूबाट छुट्टिन खोज्ने स्वभाव हुन्छ।
In a pure bhakti, if your motivation is pure, you know, if Krishna is happy, I will become happy.
शुद्ध भक्तिमा हामीलाई थाहा हुन्छ कि कृष्ण खुसी हुनुभयो भने हामी खुसी हुन्छौं।
You know, if I'm watering the root of the tree, I'm little leaf on this tree, I will also get my happiness.
यदि मैले रुखको जरामा पानी हाल्दैछु र म त्यही रुखको एउटा पत्ता हाल्छु भने म पनि खुसी हुन्छु।
I don't need to, my consciousness in pure bhakti is that I don't need to worry about myself. Let me worry that Krishna will be happy. If he is happy, if the devotees of Krishna are happy, if my spiritual master is happy, I will become happy.
त्यसमा हामीले आफ्नो बारेमा चिन्तन गरिराख्नु पर्दैन। यदि हामीले सोच्छौँ कृष्ण खुसी हुनुहुन्छ, कृष्णका भक्तहरू खुसी हुनुहुन्छ भनेदेखि म स्वाभाविक खुसी हुन्छु।
Actually, this is a very important test. Is our performance of bhakti is pure or not?
यो वास्तवमा एउटा महत्त्वपूर्ण परीक्षा हो कि हाम्रो भक्ति शुद्ध छ कि छैन।
If we're performing bhakti and we're becoming happy, it means that our bhakti, performance of bhakti is proper, is pure.
र यदि हामी भक्ति गर्दैछौँ र साथसाथै हामी खुसी पनि छौँ भने हामीहरूले गरेको भक्ति ठिक छ भनेर बुझ्नुपर्छ।
If I take my beads and before started chanting Hare Krishna, I think I'm doing this because I want Krishna to become happy. Then I'll become happy automatically.
यदि मैले जप गर्नभन्दा अगाडि सोच्छु कि यदि मैले यो कृष्णको प्रसन्नताको लागि गर्दैछु र कृष्ण खुसी भएपछि म स्वाभाविक खुसी हुन्छु भनेर सोच्छु।
And if I take my beads and before chanting I'm thinking, Prabhupada said, chant and be happy. Let me become happy. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
र म चाहिँ आफ्नो माला लिएर जप गर्ने बेला सोध्छु प्रभुपादले भन्नुभएको छ जप र खुसी हुनु र अब म खुसी हुन्छु भनेर पहिले कोसिस गर्छु भने।
Then I will chant and chant and chant and I will not become happy and I will say Prabhupada cheated me.
र त्यसपछि म जप्छु तर खुसी हुन सक्दिनँ अनि सोध्छु प्रभुपादले मलाई छल गर्नुभयो।
From the very beginning my idea, I'm doing this because I want Krishna to become happy, immediately I become happy.
यदि सुरुवातमै हामीले यो कृष्णलाई खुसी गराउनलाई गर्दैछु भनेर सोच्छौँ भनेदेखि स्वाभाविक हामी खुसी हुन्छौँ।
I'm not thinking about myself. I don't have this separate idea that I'm separate from Krishna.
त यो म खुसी हुन्छु भनेर सोच्ने म कृष्णभन्दा अलग छु भनेर सोच्ने नि होइन।
In other words, if I'm doing the practice of bhakti with the understanding that my interest is not separate from Krishna's interest, and I'm doing it for his interest, and it means that also I'm included in this interest. I will also get benefit. I don't have to worry about myself. I also have to serve other devotees and Krishna, and if they're happy, I'll become happy automatically. Then my bhakti will become pure.
र हामीले सुरुवातमै सोच्नुपर्छ कि मैले सबै कृष्णको आनन्दको लागि कृष्णको खुसीको लागि गरिरहेको छु। मेरो आफ्नो स्वसुखको लागि आफ्नो लागि मैले केही गरिरहेको छैन र मैले कृष्णलाई खुसी बनाउन सकेँ भक्तलाई खुसी बनाउन सकेँ भने स्वतस्फूर्त म आफै खुसी हुन्छु।
So pure bhakti is very simple.
तसर्थ शुद्ध भक्ति एकदम सरल छ।
एकदम सरल छ। एकदम. It's not difficult. Just don't think about your own happiness.
गाह्रो छँदै छैन, तपाईले आफ्नो खुसीको बारेमा नसोच्नुहोस्।
Just chant and be happy.
केवल जप्नुस् र खुसी हुनुहोस्।
You know, some people think that you chant and then become happy. No, you chant and be happy. It's different. Not you chant and you will become happy. No, you chant and be happy at the same time.
र कोही व्यक्तिले जपे पछि चाहिँ खुसी हुन्छ कि भनेर सोच्छन्, तर त्यो होइन, हामीले जप्दैखेरि नै खुसी हुन्छ।
I'm doing it for Krishna. Krishna is happy already, and I'm doing to make him even more happy. And Krishna, when he sees this motivation, he becomes so pleased and so happy that I become happy.
त हामीले यो गरिरहेको छौँ कृष्णको खुसीको लागि। कृष्ण त आफै खुसी हुनुहुन्छ, तर यो निष्कपट भावले जब हामीहरू गर्छौँ त्यसपछि कृष्ण अझै खुसी हुनुहुन्छ र त्यसको फलस्वरूप हामी पनि खुसी हुन्छौँ।
Yeah, this niskapat kushioncho. Yeah, this is the most important, and it's actually not so difficult at all. You know, in the beginning, of course, as I said yesterday, so many desires may be there, but if we still practice bhakti in the association of devotees, and if we see the happiness of other devotees, then ultimately we will understand that we don't need anything for our own happiness.
तसर्थ यदि हामीहरूले हुनसक्छ सुरुवातमा धेरै इच्छाहरू छन्, तर यदि हामीले भक्तहरूको खुसी हेर्छौँ र भक्तलाई प्रसन्न गराउन सक्छौँ भनेदेखि हामीहरू यस मार्गमा सफल हुन सक्छौँ।
we are already happy.
हामी पहिल्यै खुसी छौँ।
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
So, we should finish now because it's already 7:30. I want you to remain happy.
त यहाँ हामीहरू चाहिँ विश्राम लिन्छौँ सायद, किनकि तपाईँहरू खुसी हुनुहोस्, भइराख्नुहोस् भन्ने म चाहन्छु।
Very soon you will be sleeping by doing devotional service to Krishna.
चाँडै नै हजुरहरू चाहिँ कृष्णको भक्तिमय सेवा गर्दै सुत्नुहुन्छ।
But it basically means, Bhakti means that you have to really always tune up your consciousness. I'm doing it for Krishna, and I want Krishna to become happy. Then the results of our practice will come very quickly, very quickly.
त सदैव हामी यो चिन्तनमा रहनुपर्छ कि मैले यो सबै कृष्णको खुसीको लागि गर्दैछु र कृष्णको आनन्दको लागि गर्दैछु भनेपछि अनि हामीहरू यो सही मार्गमा लाग्दै जान्छौँ।
So, I think we should finish on this very optimistic note. If we become not happy, if something is wrong, it basically means that there is some problem within our heart, and we should go to our senior devotee and to ask him what is wrong with me, why I'm not happy by doing this.
र त्यसैले हामी सधैँ खुसी हुनुपर्छ। यदि खुसी छैन भनेदेखि बुझ्नु पर्यो कि हामीमा केही न केही कमी छ, केही गल्ती भइरहेको छ र हाम्रो अग्रज भक्तहरूलाई गएर सोध्नुपर्छ, म किन खुसी छैन, केही समस्या भइरहेछ ममा।
And just by asking him, we'll get his mercy.
र केवल उहाँलाई सोध्नाले नै उहाँको कृपा पाउन सकिन्छ।
Yeah. Kripa banasa kincha. Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki. Okay, so maybe one or two questions. Yes. Yes.
Arup, and actually thank you for wonderful sharing. We also hope it will continue tomorrow also.
Let us see. We should negotiate. I may ask for some pizza.
And in this Arupa Siddhi, I mean, you said three inside Arupa Siddhi, also 3 times. I got to prescribe in Shastra or wording.
Ordinary activity and sinful activity. This all three can. Second one just. One is prescribed in the Shastra, which is ritualistic activity. I have to do this yagya or that yagya or this shraddha or this ritual, that's ritual, according to Vedic activity. Then another one, yat karoshi yadashnasi yad juhoshi dadasi yad, the ordinary activity, daily activity which you do. You still have to connect this with Krishna. Yat karoshi yadashnasi yad juhoshi dadasi yad, madarpanam. Tat kurusva madarpanam. You should do it as offering to me. And the third one is when we're doing something which is against Shastra. This can also be connected with Bhakti by the means of our repentance and by the, asking Krishna, please give us some mercy and free me from these durvasanas which push me to do this. And very quickly you will see that by doing this, the desires from the heart will become less and less and less. Sometimes we think that this is very high ideal, Anyabilasita Sunyam, but it's not. It's not very high. Because, we can see that over the time when we practice devotional service, our desires, other things become less and less interesting. I had so many desires before. I wanted to go that place, this place. Now I'm in Nepal, I'm fine, no problem. I don't need to go to Maldives or Hawaii's. It's fine. The desires become less and less and less. You really feel that it's not interesting. Even if you achieve it, so what? Okay, so what? But Krishna is something very special. And the more you practice bhakti, the more clear you become about this. I only want to be there in Vrindavan, and I want to herd the cows with Krishna together. That's my only desire. Like Srila Prabhupada said once, somebody wants to know what's going on this planet, somebody wants to know what is going on this planet. I have only one desire. I want to know what Mother Yashoda cooked for Krishna today. That's my only desire, what she gave him. Do you want to know what Mother Yashoda cooked for Krishna? So it means you're pure devotee.
Thank you, Maharaj, for wonderful presentation. I have one question, practical. One memory and one question. Once Srila Prabhupada said that Krishna consciousness is so simple.
That you miss it. That for sure you will miss it.
Yes. So I said it's so simple that you may miss it when it will come. So you just, and sometimes devotees they thinking that it's something super, pooper, duper. We have to do some very extraordinary. We have to learn Sanskrit to give around and impress everyone and so something to extra tapasya, not for the sake of purpose of bhakti, but for the sake of self-development, and then we have to learn so many shlokas and Ashtakale Leela and to impress people in the lectures, and we have to know so much about the Radha Krishna Leela, and just anyway, too much in the sky. My question is, I'm just trying to bring in my experience in my Krishna consciousness. When we joined Krishna consciousness in our 1990s, 80s, 90s, and we had no any books of Prabhupada at that time, only Bhagavad Gita translated by you, and just
Not by me.
anyway, but they corrected that later. But we had only few books. But the spirit of Maharaj, I can never forget that spirit of Devavaya.
Self-surrender, yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you can remember that. Such a spirit of this Anirdeshavapo and all this. We were, I mean, somehow or other, spirit of preaching at Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so much surrender, full surrender was there. But as time was going by, and I'm sharing my experience, we had so many Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Bhava Shastri, Tantra, so many books of many gurus, and now in the books of, you go, your eyes cannot even catch so many books you have. Our gurus of ISKCON. But we found that the spirit of selfless surrender for preaching and going somewhere kind of diluted, and the devotees getting more oriented for health consciousness, some Ayurveda consciousness, so many astrologers, which is not bad. But we found that to get that selfless, full, surrendered spirit is getting a little bit more difficult and difficult and difficult. So my question is that, is there any hidden reason? Because as you said, we have to come in contact with proper source first in the beginning. And it can be Karma Mishra Bhakti, Jnana Mishra Bhakti, and whatever bija will get from very beginning.
Yeah.
That will grow in the same mood.
Yeah.
But because we're presenting so many diluted processes through psychology, astrology, Ayurveda, yoga, which is super, and we can connect it to bhakti also. But I unfortunately found many devotees, they going to different even sampradayas and organizations from Srila Prabhupada by saying, Srila Prabhupada actually didn't give everything. And they said today, somebody very, very so-called sincere devotee said, Prabhupada is just for the beginnings, just for the first level. And if you really want to know something more, then you have to look somewhere outside. And that sincere bhakti, in the words of Srila Prabhupada, I give you everything to go back to God. And as Mukunda Maharaj told once to me and to my friend, who asked him, can we read books of some another acharyas? And Mukunda Maharaj, Michael Grant, who doesn't know in the beginning, he said, unless you read Srila Prabhupada's books 5 times thoroughly, completely, don't go outside. So what could be there? Maybe you can elaborate few vision how to protect that our sincere baby Komala Bhakti, Balika.
Balika.
From that
Atyanta
viruses
Balika.
of Jnana Mishra, especially in India, especially in Nepal, because it's penetrated by Hindu mentality and people so much want some kind of complicated structures to support bhakti. अब मैले के कुरा गरेको म सुरुमा जब हामीहरू पनि कृष्ण भावनामृतमा प्रवेश गर्यौं हाम्रो सँग केही पनि पुस्तक थिएन मात्र एक भगवत गीता थियो त्यसपछि महाराज पनि वहाँ तत्पर्य दिएको छ 2-3 किताब मात्रै थियो तर हाम्रो सँग सम्पूर्ण रूपले समर्पित भाव थियो एकदम
पूर्ण रूपले समर्पित भाव थियो
तर त्यसपछि बिस्तारै इस्कनको विकास भएर भक्ति शास्त्री भक्ति भाव थुप्रै अथन्न किताब आएको छ गुरु सम्पूर्ण इस्कनको गुरुको किताब पनि आयो अब पुस्तकालयमा आउनुहोस् प्रभुपाजीको पुस्तकको बाहेक और कति किताबहरू छन् त्यो हाम्रो मन विचलित हुन्छ र शिल प्रभुपाजीको शिक्षाको लागि अलिकति हामीहरू ध्यान दिँदैन र त्यो ज्योतिष आयुर्वेद योगा स्वास्थ्यको लागि अनुलोम विलोम भस्त्रिका एकदम राम्रो ग्रीन कार्ड पाउनको लागि भक्ति गर्ने भक्ति भयो मिश्र भक्ति तर यो सम्पूर्ण रूपले समर्पित भाव प्रचारको लागि साधारण रूपले खतम हुँदैछ जस्तो दुध पनि पक्का छ तर पानीले बिस्तारै सेतो स्वाद पनि बिग्रिन्छ त्यो प्रभुपादजीको समर्पित भाव थिएन तो प्रभुपादजीले एक बार बताएको छ कृष्ण भावनामृत यो
अत्यन्त सरल छ
कृष्ण भावनामृत यो अभ्यास एकदम सजिलो छ कस्तो सजिलो तपाई वहाँ मिस कसरी के समझ छुट्छ तपाईको
छुट्छ
यस्तो पनि सजिलो छ जो पनि आउनु भएपछि फेरि तपाई छुट्छ तपाई हेर्नु सक्दैन यस्तो सजिलो सूक्ष्म छ र मेरो प्रश्न कस्तो थियो कारण के हो त यस्तो समर्पित भाव जस्तो कहाँ आउनु त्यो भक्तहरू पनि यस्तो अनुलोम विलोम भस्त्रिका योग यो मिश्र सम्पूर्ण मिश्र भएर यस्तो समर्पित र भक्तहरू भन्छन् त्यो शिल प्रभुपादजीको शिक्षा यो सुरुवातको लागि मात्रै केजी लेभलको लागि यदि तपाईँ वास्तविक एकदम ज्ञान प्राप्त गर्नु चाहनुहुन्छ त्यसपछि भए ठीक अनि अष्टकले लीला कृष्ण लीला क्यों आचार्य उता आचार्य विदेशमा तर प्रभुपादजी बताएको छ यदि म तपाईलाई सम्पूर्ण ज्ञान दिएको छु वैकुण्ठ जानको लागि गोलोक वृन्दावन जानको लागि त्यो विश्वास कहाँ हो मेरो प्रश्न थियो के कारण हुन सक्छ अब हिन्दुस्तानमा या नेपालमा एकदम अति महत्त्वपूर्ण कहीं एक दूसरा मान्छे पनि पण्डित पुरोहित कर्मकाण्डी एउटा मिश्र भक्ति
Yeah, I remember when we started practicing, it was very blissful. You translate?
मलाई स्मरण छ सुरुवातको दिनहरुमा जब हामीहरुको एकदमै आनन्दमय थियो
Every day when there was approximately 200 devotees in Begavaya temple, and every day all 200 devotees were chanting Hare Krishna together.
र त्यहाँ बिगवाईको मन्दिरमा लगभग 200 जना भक्तहरु हुनुहुन्थ्यो र सब एकसाथ भएर हरे कृष्ण जप्नुहुन्थ्यो
And when they were all chanting together, all the people in the neighboring houses, they woke up from their sleep.
र सबै भक्तले एकसाथमा जप गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ छिमेकमा जति पनि व्यक्तिहरु थिए सबैजना आफ्नो निन्द्राबाट उठ्थे
And the vibration was so powerful, 200 people, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Then, there was an impression that Begavaya temple will just like a rocket start up from the earth and go somewhere by Kun.
र त्यो 200 जना एकसाथमा चाहिँ हरे कृष्ण जप गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ यस्तो दिव्य तरंग त्यहाँबाट निस्किन्थ्यो कि मानव त्यहाँ त्यो बिगवेको मन्दिरबाट नै एउटा ठुलो चाहिँ रकेट उडेर चाहिँ सिधै वैकुण्ठ जान्छ जस्तो
And that everyone was doing it so sincerely that even if somebody wanted to sleep during japa time, it was not possible.
र सबैले यति समर्पित भावले त्यहाँ जप गर्दै हुनुहुन्थ्यो कि कसैले त्यहाँ म निदाउँछु भन्ने पनि सक्दैन थियो।
So why? Because in the beginning there was this very pure motivation. We want to Krishna, and because of this, the results were very powerful.
किनकि सुरुवातमा सबैको एकदमै शुद्ध इच्छा थियो केवल कृष्णलाई प्राप्त गर्ने र यसको फल पनि अत्यन्त शक्तिशाली भयो।
Srila Prabhupada also was capable to give people this very pure motivation from the very beginning.
र शिल प्रभुपादले यो शुद्ध प्रेरणा सुरुदेखि सबै व्यक्तिलाई दिन सक्नुभयो।
There was one disciple of Srila Prabhupada. His name is Guru and Gauranga.
र शिल प्रभुपाद एकजना शिष्य हुनुहुन्छ उसको नाम चाहिँ गुरु गौराङ्ग हो।
He was studying in Harvard Law School.
र उहाँ चाहिँ हार्वर्डको यो कानुनको स्कुलमा पढ्नुहुन्थ्यो।
Harvard University is the highest, the best university in whole United States, and law school in Harvard University is the best law school ever.
यो हार्वर्ड विश्वविद्यालय चाहिँ अमेरिकाकै सबभन्दा श्रेष्ठतम विश्वविद्यालय हो र त्यसमा पनि त्यो कानुनी शिक्षा स्कुल जुन सिकाइन्छ त्यो झनै राम्रो हो।
So he went for vacation to France.
र छुट्टीमा चाहिँ उहाँ फ्रान्स जानुभएको थियो।
And he met with the devotees there. Occasionally just met with the devotees.
र त्यहाँ यसो झुकेर भक्तहरुसँग भेट भयो।
And then Prabhupada came.
र तत्पश्चात प्रभुपाद जी आउनुभयो।
And Prabhupada spoke with him for maybe 15 minutes or something like this.
र शिल प्रभुपादले लगभग 15 मिनेट जति उहाँसँग कुरा गर्नुभयो।
In 2 weeks, he was in Austria opening a new temple in Vienna.
2 हप्तापछि अस्ट्रियामा भियनामा उहाँले नयाँ मन्दिर खोल्दै हुनुहुन्थ्यो।
He forgot everything about Harvard Law School and everything. He was opening the new temple.
र हार्वर्ड लॉ स्कुल सबै बिर्सेर उहाँ चाहिँ नयाँ मन्दिर खोल्न जानुभयो।
And he was the only one. There was nobody else in Vienna. He came there and he started Krishna consciousness movement there.
र उहाँ एक्लै हुनुहुन्थ्यो, अरु कोही थिएन। एक्लै गएर त्यहाँ भियनामा उहाँले कृष्ण भावनामृत अभियान सुरु गर्नुभयो।
And sometimes doubts, he expressed himself. Sometimes he said, what am I doing? I went to vacation and now I'm in what happened to me?
कहिलेकाहीँ उहाँलाई मनमा चाहिँ शङ्का लाग्थ्यो, हो म चाहिँ भियनामा छुट्टीमा गएको थिएँ अनि अहिले मलाई यहाँ के भइरहेछ?
But then he says, but I am happy.
तर फेरि सर म खुसी छु।
So what else do I need?
अरु के चाहियो त?
So, when this experience is there, you will never be able to forget this.
त यो अनुभूति भएपछि यसलाई कहिल्यै बिर्सिन सकिदैन।
And everything else is just, everything else you can do this, but actually it has nothing to do with bhakti. It doesn't make you happy.
त अरु सबै थोक हामीले गर्न सक्छौं तर यो भक्तिसँग सम्बन्धित छैन भने यसले हामीलाई खुसी बनाउन सक्दैन।
But because we all like khichdi, therefore we are always do some misread kind of bhakti.
तर किनकि हामी खिचडी जस्तै छौं त्यसकारणले हामीले केही न केही मिश्रित किसिमको भक्ति नै गर्छौं।
You take sweet rice, you take kheer.
र मानौ हामीले खीर खान्छौं
And you think kheer is very nice.
सोच्छौं हो खीर कति राम्रो छ।
Let me put little sand in this kheer.
र यो खीरमा अलिकति बालुवा हाल्दिम न।
Will it become better or not?
अझै राम्रो हुन्छ त?
Kheer is kheer. Kheer should be pure. So bhakti has this power, inherent power in the activities of bhakti. Just it's a simple experiment. Just raise your hands and say Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
That's it. Khushi cha.
एकदमै सरल छ। तपाईले हात उठाएर हरे कृष्ण महामन्त्र भन्दाखेरि हामी खुसी हुन्छौं।
Khushi huncha. So it's because of asatsanga. Srila Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, asatsanga tyaga Vaishnavachar. Who is Vaishnav? Vaishnav is somebody who is very careful not to have any asatsanga.
चैतन्य महाप्रभुले भन्नुभयो कि वैष्णव त्यो हो जसले चाहिँ असत्संगबाट एकदमै सावधानीपूर्वक बच्छ।
And asatsanga means the sangha, the association with something which is asat, which is not real.
असत्सङ्ग भनेको त्यो जुन सत्य छैन त्यो चिजको सङ्ग गर्नु हो
The understanding that, there is anything, we are transcendental, Krishna is transcendental, and Bhakti is the only transcendental process. We are spiritual by nature, Jiva soul. Krishna is spiritual by nature, and Bhakti is the process which connects the spiritual Jiva with God. If there is any other understanding, it's asat, it's unreal. It's against the reality.
किनकि हामी पनि दिव्य छौँ कृष्ण पनि दिव्य हुनुहुन्छ र यो भक्तिको मार्ग पनि दिव्य छ हामी चाहिँ आध्यात्मिक चिज हौँ कृष्ण पनि आध्यात्मिक तत्त्व हुनुहुन्छ र यो भक्तिको मार्गले हामीलाई कृष्णसँग जोड्छ यो बाहेक अरू केही छ भनेदेखि यो असत हो
So the only reason is asat sangha, and devotee by the definition of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is somebody who avoids asat sangha. That's it.
तसर्थ यो भक्ति नै वास्तविक तत्त्व हो र अरू सबै चिज असत हो र चैतन्य महाप्रभु अनुसार भक्त त्यो हो जसले असत सङ्घलाई त्याग गर्छ
This is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur says. The living entity is transcendental, Krishna is transcendental, and Bhakti Vritti, the inclination or the tendency for pure devotion through which the living entity establishes eternal relationship with Krishna, is also transcendental. So this understanding we should have. This is, the nature of the living entity is spiritual, Krishna is spiritual, and the only purely spiritual process is service of the part to the whole. And that's it. If this understanding is there, then bhakti becomes very simple.
तसर्थ यहाँ भक्तिनाथ ठाकुरले बताउँदै हुनुहुन्छ कि कृष्ण पनि दिव्य हुनुहुन्छ हामी पनि दिव्य छौँ र यो भक्तिमय सेवा नै एकमात्र मार्ग हो जसले हामीहरूलाई कृष्णसँग जोड्न सक्छ र यसमा पूर्ण श्रद्धा राख्नाले विश्वास राख्नाले हामीहरूले चाहिँ यो मार्गमा लागेपछि अरू सबै चिजलाई परित्याग गरेपछि अनि भगवानलाई प्राप्ति गर्न सक्छौँ
Yes, Professor. Yes.
So, you said like three types of bhakti: arupa, sangha, and swarupa. So, are we supposed to know about this? Just know about this, or we are supposed to practice this? And among these three, which one is more powerful, more recommended?
See, the most powerful is Swarupa Siddha Bhakti, because it's Bhakti by Swarup, because the very nature of this activity is service. We said that Bhakti means service, right? Bhaj Dhatu means Sevayam Parikirtitaha. Bhaj Dhatu means service. So any activity which is direct service to the Lord is most powerful, because it has Swarupa Vastu Shakti, Bhakti Poshaka Shakti. It nourishes our Shakti. But we also have to do some other activities. So how to do some other activities so that our Bhakti remains pure? This is what I was trying to explain, that we should do our ordinary activity, but with the consciousness that I'm doing it for Krishna, and we should also, we may do something else, but ultimately...
Will it be applicable to the making community accordingly, the level of engagement in devotional service in terms of David Varnashama Dharma, in terms of respect? Because some devotees, they dedicated fully as a missionaries, completely directly serving Krishna. Some people, though they are old devotees, but still they're not able to surrender fully and doing some secondary job, but they're demanding as much respect as missionaries. And there are some people, those who coming once in a year, suppose, and sometimes practicing certain level of spiritual life, but they still also demanding the same respect as the missionaries who dedicated all the time. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur explained about, I believe, 8 levels of respect. So, will it be applicable in making community? Because some devotees, they coming and practicing Krishna consciousness for 10 years, but they're doing this in, let's say, in renunciate or even grihastha in full dedication. And some people practicing maybe 30 years, and they're very wonderful devotees, but still they're not able to make it to full direct service. So how to relate in terms of making practical application in community? because somebody practicing a rope, one second or third kind of bhakti.
The devotees are very generous at heart, and they are, they are ready to respect anyone, especially if somebody is practicing bhakti. We respect them very much.
Right.
So we should be, we should not demand respect, but we should command respect. And demanding respect is not a devotional attitude. But in general, the society of devotees should be very generous that, we respect everyone, this new bhakta, we respect him very much. And all devotees, we respect him very much. We respect everyone. It is, definitely the culture of respect should be very, the culture of respect is the glue which keeps the community together. Because when the disrespect is there, it will disintegrate. The respect is very, very important. But of course, there are different grades of respect and gradations of respect. But everyone should get respect, and if somebody needs more respect, no problem. No problem. And it is said in Manu Samhita that this deserves this respect, this deserves that respect, and then it's said that if somebody is 100 years old, he should be respected. No problem. So, no problem. Everyone has to
Because
be
in
respected.
Nepal particularly, this is caste system. It's still very strong. And we don't want to take this topic, but still that topic, and sometimes people coming from Karma Kanda background, very, very strong background. And some devotees, they happen to be from the families not as respectful in social environment, right? So I don't know what we call them, Sarki or whatever, right? And they're very, very low caste, you can say, materially speaking. But they happen to be even pujaris in ISKCON. And they are so dedicated devotees, we know. But because caste mentality is still prevalent in Nepal, some people, they even didn't want to come close to that level. I mean, oh, you people like this. And so this is and it's among the Vaishnava consciousness. So how to react on that in terms of this three kind of bhakti? Siddha, and then Sangha, and then
Arop Siddha, Sangha Siddha, and Svarupa Siddha.
so not to make it rasabhasa, not to mix
I
it
mean,
together.
this, we should respect the social customs of the place. If this custom is there, then accordingly we should, behave in social interactions. But internally we should also understand that the greatest cause for respect is the level of his bhakti advancement. And like Srila Radhanath Maharaj, he gave an example. There was this, his Krishna Chandra Prabhu, who is very respectable and very rich, and his driver, who is much lower in the, and in their interaction, they remain. He is the master and he is the driver. But when they're in the temple, they dance together and they, eat together, and and everyone is very happy to see how they're dancing together. He is the servant and he is the master. But when they become, in the society of devotees, there is no masters here. Everyone is servant. So because he is the servant, he is more respectable than the master. So and they're dancing together. So that's the thing. We come here, and for us there is no difference. Somebody is from high caste, and I'm from Russia. This is a very low background, but I'm sitting here somehow or other. So from bhakti point of view, we don't discriminate, but for social etiquette, we should respect the customs of the land. Yes.
You said in the stage of Nishta, we can do Sangha with anyone. And in that 9 stages,
Nishta basically means that your mind is not, you don't have many doubts. You know, before the stage of Nishta, you may be doubtful whether I want to do it or not. But when you don't have any doubts, I want to do Bhakti, I don't want to do anything else, then it means that you're already on the stage of Nishta and you can go to your school and associate with everyone there. No problem. So it basically depends. If you don't have any doubts, then you are already on the stage of Nishta. And I'm sure everyone is on the stage of Nishta. Just, I'm not, but. Anyway, it's late. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Sahaj Bhaktivedanta Maharaj ki
Jai.